What's up, YouTube, my and your Rhythmic Lightworker, and I am back real quick for just like a second here. What I wanted to say is that, okay, so what you're hearing in the background is called a negative entity removal, bad energy removal. This is actually by, I think, Sound Alchemist, which is, yeah, Sound Energy Alchemist, okay? They have a lot of them on their channel. Some of them are ear piercing when you listen to it. Like, here we go. See, this one is the Magic Mirror Return to Sender, okay? This is YouTube, so. And the sound can be piercing to the eardrum. So while you're playing this sound to banish any dark or negative energy that may be in your space, or to do a return to sender on any reflected dark magic or something, while you're doing this, you could try headphones, okay? I would not suggest just putting your headphones in and listening to this frequency because it can be pretty bad, okay? For a high vibrational entity, it's not hard to listen to, but most people are at a frequency, if they're having to deal with this, they're at a lower frequency. So what this does for a psychic, well, for me anyway, okay, is as the sounds go out, it ripples through the crystalline grid, which is this space that we call air. When it ripples through, anything of a certain vibrational frequency, negative energy, or so forth, that I'm having a hard time getting rid of or seeing, or getting, like even just like a corner in the house that keeps building up those cobwebs, there's an energy there that needs to be cleared out. So I do, if I'm having a hard time clearing it with my, natural remedies, like my everyday go-tos, such as my herbs, my most recently my rosemary sage, my copal, my frankincense, my very important Palo Santo, just whatever I use, okay? What this will do is the vibrational frequency will actually ripple through the crystalline grid and make visible any frequencies in the area that I'm not picking up on, or that is just gunked up. And what it'll do is it's kind of like it'll make it visible to me. It's almost like, what's his name? It's Ben Affleck in that one movie. You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Sorry, Affleck. Lion face. Anyway, so it's like whenever he's blind, but even though he's blind, whenever it rains, or at certain angles, or at certain sounds, pitches, echoes, whatever, he can see in front of him, even though he's completely 100% blind. It works in this effect for me essentially because I'm seeing the energy. So as it ripples through the grid and it makes it visible for me, I can then go at it visibly versus just needing to go at it intuitively, if that makes sense. So the vibrational frequency is what it will do when I play those tones. It's only about 12 to 20 minutes usually, okay? It's not that bad, and you can take it if you really are serious about clearing out the energy of the space, or if you have to. I suggest using a rosemary sage to sage or smudge the area from top to bottom, people. I mean, you open up your doors, your cabinets, your drawers. Do not F around on this. Make sure that all of your mirrors are open, but that they are, like the intent is to clear, cleanse, and then close, seal it, lock it. Nothing's allowed to come through it. Nothing's allowed to leave. Nothing's allowed to tap in. Nothing's allowed to be used or brought back, any information, right? So once you seal it, you're able to, once you clear the area, which my favorite lately has been the rosemary sage. My daughter actually was like, I need you to order this, please. So I did. And I've been using a different kind of sage, but this one, man, it is just, I love the smell. And it's so sweet and, you know, very earthy. It's very grounding. So, what I've been doing is using the sage, the rosemary sage. And as it's heating up, I'll let the copal kind of just sit there in my abalone shell and just, you know, stay on fire until it's completely melted and starts to char. And as I'm doing this, you know, I make sure that I'm cleansing the space, clearing the space, do this safely. Make sure that you've got a fire safe plate or dish or something that you can use to set your abalone shell on if you need to set it down quickly so that you can, because sometimes after 20 or 30 minutes of the abalone shell and it's lit up because you're still burning, you're still blessing the home, it can really make the abalone shell hot and it can transfer the heat to your hand very quickly before you even realize what's happening. Boom, you're burnt and you have nowhere to sit it down because it'll burn any surface you're usually clearing. So make sure that you've got a fire safety plate with you so that you can sit it down on that. But just cleanse your area really, really well. Just, you know, in your mind, call in your guides, your angels, the Most High. Ask for the, you know, creative source to clear out the, you know, gunk in the house while you're doing this. Intend on, oh, make sure you open your windows. Make sure that you clear it, cleanse it, call in the Most High, yada, yada, yada. Then this will clear and cleanse the space if you use the rosemary sage. Not everyone likes it, so I suggest that you do your own research, do your own experimenting safely. Let's see, what else? I had a couple of things I wanted to say when I got back on here, but I have been so, I feel like I went through this massive ascension. Like I went through one of those ascensions where I've never felt that before in my entire life. Like, you know how when you're astral projecting in dream state and you don't even know you're doing it, but you're like astral projecting over top of like something, okay? And you can feel in your solar plexus chakra the speed. Okay, it's almost like you can feel the energy in the chakra, and if it almost feels like you're moving on a roller coaster at a substantial rate, and you've got that weird feeling in the pit of your stomach that gives you that flip feeling whenever you go over a hill. Me and my aunt used to actually call it the heebie-jeebies. That feeling in your stomach is your soul. It is who you are. That is you. Okay, that is you. That is you. Well, that pit of your stomach feeling is what I was feeling, like I was going 1,000, like a million miles a second up, straight up into the air. I couldn't control it. I couldn't stop it. I was in the middle of a scene where my guides and angels were showing me, like I did a very massive purge earlier that night, okay? And I was coming out of very dark, very nasty spell work that I didn't realize had been going on, okay? That had been going on potentially my entire life, okay? I'm just gonna say that, right? Well, I had a vision and saw, they like showed me, they connected the dots for me and showed me from birth to now, but they also showed me before birth. They showed me way back, okay? They ran the scene through and it was like it all hit at once, you know, like just like any other packet of information or packet of light data that you get when you receive it, it all boom hits at once. It doesn't come in typed out like a sentence. It comes in like if you took the typewriter and instead of typing the letters, having the paper move as you type it to create the sentence that you read. All of it makes one. Instead, it will come at me all at once, as if the typewriter has typed it all out in one spot. Boom. The typewriter never moved the paper. It's all in one little spot. The entire sentence overlapping on itself in one big packet. So each letter I have to decode one at a time, and it doesn't come through like you would think all the time. Sometimes it comes through literally one letter at a freaking time. So it's kind of like getting one drop of water every couple of days, even though you're thirsting to figure out what's going on, right? I'm sorry if you can't hear me very well, but I've got a different pair of headphones in tonight. So, as this information comes in, it comes in all at once, and this can be extremely overwhelming. And I had a vision that an energetic vision. I don't know how else to explain it. I was calling it a near death at first, but I don't think that's what it was. I've pondered on it just consistently because I've had tiny visions like this before, like right before my grandfather died, my papa. Now, he and I always said that we had an umbilical cord that stretched 1,000,000 miles that always showed up on the phone bill, because when I lived in Philly and in Maine, he had to have long distance calling and in order to talk to me. So he got long distance, and it was, of course, AT&T, hundreds of dollars at the time, or Bell South, or who knows what it was back then, right? It was about early 2000s. But we were so close that even though we couldn't be even in the same town, he wanted to make sure we talked. So he always said our umbilical cord stretched 1,000,000 miles, and it showed up on his phone bill. Well, in this, we were very empathically connected. Okay, I'd had no idea how much. So until the last time I saw him, and he said, "Won't you drop another pearl? Give me another pearl of wisdom." I said, "What's that mean?" He said, with all this meditating, tell me something. I said, "Well, what do you want to know?" He said, "Give me a gem." I said, "Well, I know you've already planned your exit strategy." And he just looked at me, and I looked at him. And in that moment, I can't explain it other than it was like, claircognizance. You just know. Like on the screen of the TV with your eyes closed, you can still hear it and feel it and see it and sense it. It doesn't stop it just because your eyes are closed. It doesn't stop the information from coming to you just because your eyes, switch positions. So all I can say is that it hit us both at the same time. I know he saw it, I saw it. It was like all of a sudden we were in a coffee shop or a cafe or something with a whole bunch of other men, and it was like he was at the waiting point to tell his family goodbye with the other people that were fixing to cross over. And he was explaining this to me, and I could feel it and see it. And he was explaining that he was only alive for the last 20 years because of me, because of the way he knew I needed him to be here, but that he was actually a drain on my energy, and he didn't want to feel that way, but he knew he had to stay here in order to make sure that me and the kids were going to be okay before he left, me and his family, his girls. But the last time I saw him and I had this vision, it was the first time I had one awake that I remember. But it was intense, but I knew immediately what had happened, and I also knew immediately that I was gonna lose him. But I didn't anticipate how fast it was gonna be. Anyway, which I'm gonna say like I'm gonna say less than 2 weeks, less than a month later. Anyway, I am gonna say that this last one, it happened, and I had to go through one of my dark night moments, but it was more like the 3 days of darkness, if you know what I mean. It was more like one of those, oh, holy crap, I have just seen with my own third eye, felt with my own chakra system and the deepest part of my heart and my soul. And I just felt and saw my soul's lineage. And I thought when I had my Merkaba activation that was intense. Mm-mm. I was asleep for that, and it was like it was so vivid. Anyone who's gone through their Merkaba activation, well, for me anyway, it was digital like a video game. My daughter and I talk about this too, because ever since she started going through her awakening, she has advanced very quickly, just like I did, because it was lying dormant, and we're so strong and our energy is so intense that we have a way of becoming like absorbing the energy around us. Actually, Jesus, just a quick side note, Jesus's wife, when Mary first noticed their daughter had their gifts, she was very, very small. And she knew, because she said, she wrote, I watched a woman who was very upset over something come in and see the baby and immediately want to hold the baby. So I, of course, I obliged and let her hold the baby. Within seconds, the baby started bawling. And it happened over and over. But the woman became very happy. The baby was so highly sensitive and empathetic that she was able to, without even meaning to, naturally absorb the negative energy of another person, take it on for herself to transmute. She immediately knew when she had gifts that she had to get her away from basically the human population, because the collective carries very discordant frequencies. And if you stay around people, if you stay around people all the time, not everybody's supposed to be in your house. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is supposed to be coming in your house. You're not obliged to allow people to come in just because it may be rude. Now, I know for a Southern belle, anywhere around here, for any kind of Southern belle, you don't want to admit that, because it's been chiseled into to the Southern belle, that you are supposed to be a very charming, very, elaborate guest, a hostess, right? Hostess. But in doing so, when you're done, dude, you are drained of resources because you paid for everybody's food. You're drained of drinks. You're drained of money. You're drained of energy. You're exhausted, and no one helps clean up. So now you have to deal with the fact that you just literally fed any and everybody that you've ever met in your life, even people that you don't care for, because you're that kind of person. You roll like that. You're classy like that. When you do it right. You know what I'm saying? You're a you have a gentleness about you. You know what I mean? However, oh, sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. Y'all just want to look at the candle? Log lamp. Let's just see the log lamp, shall we? Anyway, so where was I? I get distracted like that quickly because of the ADHD. That's why I do the cards, get in, get out usually. But I've been, on myself about getting my videos out. And the more I do that, the worse the procrastination gets, then, the vicious cycle. So I have to fight my way out of that. Everybody knows about that. But I'm trying to stop saying but also. I picked it up from my kids, and I picked it up from my, environment. I am working on, increasing my vocabulary so that I do not sound quite so country bumpkin. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so when clearing and cleansing, I suggest you do this, okay? And I say that because I come across people all the time, or me and the kids, me and my children, they're all grown now except for my youngest, okay? My youngest child, he wasn't even born, like technically born. No one even knows what time he was actually born because no one was in there but me and my husband. I gave birth to my last son, the fourth child I had, on my own at the hospital. We tried to tell him that since I'd had so many deliveries that it was probably going to be fast, but they didn't listen. And within 4 to 5 minutes, we pulled the blanket back and poof, voila, sprinkle on a little, little baby boy, and you got, sorry, I want to say his name. I love my kids' names. Anyway, I'm not going to say it though. It's, and you got a little bouncing baby boy. Let's put it like that. Mind you, this was 15 years ago now. Anyway, he just appeared in the. I still don't know. I'm still not sure that I even gave birth to that child. He just appeared. Still to this day, I can't believe how fast it was. Anyway, so, yeah. The last time that I had this massive ascension, I was in the middle of an upgrade. They showed me like the lines connecting the dots connecting the lines, okay, of my soul's lineage, but not just mine. It was like the earth ancestral karma as well as my own souls, okay. When I got my Merkaba activated, they explained a lot of this to me. They actually took me under the sea. They showed me where I could still breathe. They showed me a lot of very sacred knowledge and information, which, anyway, see, that's another thing, okay? I have this voice in my head that goes, stop talking so much. Stop talking so much. You're giving too much information, right? However, until I have physical evidence that I'm on to anything with any of this, until I have physical proof, physical evidence, until I can connect the dots here in the physical, until I get physical evidence and I say, yep, there's my proof right there. I am not going to accuse, or I am not going to point fingers at or give names. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. But what I am going to do is tell my story. Unapologetically, unfiltered, but I am not here to hurt anybody else. I want to give that disclaimer also, so that anyone who hears this video that may be worried about what I know that I may tell about them, they know already. They don't have to worry about that with me. They know because they know for a fact that they vibe with me, But if I know something about you in the three-dimensional and I know it personally, you know it's because you knew I was cool enough to chill with you here and you trusted me, even though, and I've been a vault. I've been a vault, by the way. So no one has to worry that I'm going to narc them out. That's not what this channel is, y'all. I just want to explain to everyone what I've gone through, and I don't expect anyone to listen. I definitely don't expect anyone to care. But what I do expect is to bear witness to my own testimony, my own righteous justice, and my own ascension process as a prophetic and biblical prophet directly from the source of all things, the Most High God, the Lord. Make no mistake, I am a daughter of Yahweh, Yeshua HaMashiach, the Most High. And make no mistake, Shebrew, she shaman, and she ain't playing no more. This is the big leagues when it comes to some of the stuff I'm talking about here. Okay, so if I trigger you, please do not watch it. Okay, just don't, just get up out of here, because I'm not necessarily even talking to you, even though you probably think that I am. Because I just had that song pop in my head. You probably think, sorry, you probably think this song is about you, don't you, don't you? Sorry, I've got to drink water, hang on. My ashwagandha that I have to take for DNA upgrades really dries out my mouth. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. The vision that I had showed me my soul's mission, okay, and the potentialities, and how I've literally got, like, it's given, you only get one shot, right? That one shot, the pivotal moment where if you don't make the right decision at this nexus point, at this node, at this null that's coming up, at this massive portal opening, if you do not do this right and listen to me, my child, if you don't do it exactly the way we say, trust us 100% and know that we got your back. And if you will let us carry your things, we won't have to rip it all away from you like we did last time to get you to hear what we have to say. They said, please remember that we walk with you regardless of life or death, regardless of what timeline, because you're one of the chosen and you are here to fulfill a prophecy. And I said, whew. Right. Right. Okay. And let me guess. You know, I'm not trying to be cocky, but I am trying to be like, okay, and let me guess. It's straight from the Bible. They're like, oh, it goes deeper than that. They're like, you're literally one of the 144,000 from the beginning of time. You are a God seed packet of you are your holograph, like your hologram of the seed point that is you, your soul, contains a seed packet of information. It's like a holographic seed, a packet of information that once you dissolve with the column of light being drawn down through meditation, and you build up your auric field and you get rid of all the gunk in the auric field that you have to store there, once you're able to take on more light in the auric field, that's when you're able to, it's like building up your spiritual armor, you know what I mean? You're able to mend any cracks or tears or rips. You come into this lifetime with those still there, you know, they're always there. It's like a scar on your skin your whole life, but on your soul for your entire existence, you know. This will expand eventually. My teachings will expand, or these lectures, how, you know, will expand eventually into how even the physical body explains. It's literally got a map on it. Your body is a map of where you are at in your soul's incarnation and what you've been through. And a lot of the times this will show up as moles. If you, like, say you've been unalived in a past life with a gunshot wound, you know, or sorry, with a gunshot wound. Sorry, I don't want YouTube to flag me. Say in a past life this has happened. A lot of times when you're born into the next incarnated form, you will have the mark of the impact from the way you passed, especially if it's traumatic. In the exact same spot. And ancient Buddhist Asian culture, they're very much, especially the Zhao, the Taiwanese, they've all got very in-depth records of all of their like every inch, every square, like every molecule of the human body, inch by inch, like you can map it. Basically, it maps out. And you know, if you were shot here, it means this, or if you have this certain, you know, blotch, it means that, or, you know. And you guys know what I mean by this, because you all have moles, you all have freckles, you all, heck, I've got constellations, I've got freckles in the shape of constellations on my arms. And you can say I'm crazy, but I don't care. I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane. And I will always keep that as my most sincere, deepest motto, the truest motto I've ever heard in my life. And deep down, I've always listened to country music. I've always listened to hip hop and rap. I've always loved rock, and I've always been eclectic, you know, and that's where my rhythm comes from, the rhythmic lightworker. That, and I'm the red rhythmic dragon. This, as a matter of fact, is your identification for your Zolkin. The Zolkin is your soul's identification number, if you will. So mine is 201. It means I've literally been here, and I came from Sirius B this last incarnation, okay? And when I was incarnating, like, my soul's badge number, or like my soul's social security number is number 201 in the Zolkin. The Zolkin number. It's called your kin number, okay? You can figure this out. There are websites online that you can go to. They're called the Zolkin calculators that go into depth about these things. But I will be putting out videos. Give me time, please, before you expect a miracle. However, because I'm going through some I went through some that's what I was getting at. I went through some intense upgrades. I mean, to my third eye, my crown, and my solar plexus, like I've never experienced. It was like, only thing I can, in the Bible, Okay, I'm not a Bible thumper, but I am very spiritual. I am an ordained minister. Okay, I am an ordained minister. I call it a mini star, but I am ordained, and I am here to do this. But here's what I want. Sorry about that. I get so distracted. 1 second. Oh, it's not for that. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So I am an ordained minister, so I will make reference to the Bible. And when I say I'm a light worker, I mean just that. I mean, I open my chakras, I act as a conduit, I ground light that I take in through my crown, actually through my soul star, way above my head, and I ground it, and I act as a living battery of sorts so that I can ground light packets of information that come in on lights, as you know, can move as a wave and a particle, and it moves in on these like waves of light and particles of light. Each one contains like a holographic replica of the new solar galactic coding, the ones for the new multidimensional grid, the ones that we carry into this new Aquarian era. And I ground the light. I act as an open door, a ground that light through my chakras and through my feet into the earth. I connect with the crystals at the center of the earth. I then allow, through my column of light, the crystal energy, it just connects and kind of like hooks in, and then I draw the crystalline energy back up my column of light, back into my chakras. They go back through the chakras, back through the crown, back up the column of light, directly to source. I then do a big loop, like a loop into Solaris, our sun. But what I like connect with the great solar sun, the one on the fourth dimensional side. Each dimension has its own sun, and each sun has its own energetic side of the sun. And it's hard to explain right now. I've got to clock in, but what I will say is that I have to make video after video. I've got plans, and I don't want you guys to think I'm just leaving you hanging, because I'm not. I've just got such an ascension. The only thing, like I said, I can liken it to is the story of Elijah and Eli, where he watched him ascend into the light. Now, I believe this is like a euphemism for he and his higher self, acting as a witness to himself ascending, because I have seen myself. It's kind of like in the dream state, you're either in the first person, the second person, or the third person. You're either floating above, seeing through your own eyes, or seeing through someone else's eyes. And each perspective is a different form of viewing, remote viewing, astral projecting, whatever it is, it's a different form of vision, of seeing or perceiving, okay, taking in the information, and then logically, decoding it, and then spiritually it's kind of like, and then translating it spiritually so that you can understand it in the third dimension. I hope that made sense, but I digress. And I'll go back into what I was trying to say, which was the energy was like I was on a roller coaster. Like I was in the car with someone, and I went to grab their hand. They said, "Please, no, don't go." And I said, I can't stop it. And I was being drugged out of the car energetically. And I couldn't stop. I literally couldn't. I was being, almost like I was being delivered. I don't know how else to put that. I ascended. Um, it was like when you close your eyes on a roller coaster, you can feel everything going on around you, but it's dark because your eyes are closed. But you can feel how fast you're going when you go down those hills. You don't know you're going down, you don't know you're going left, you're going right. All you know is that your eyes are closed and your stomach, your solar plexus is completely freaking lit up because you are, you know, basically expanded because of the energy. You're at your peak adrenaline energy. You're at your peak of energy, your inner chi. And that life force, the more it's drawn in through joy, because like I said, you only have joyful or joyless. And through joy comes the light. Through rest, through contemplation, through meditation. Um, some people benefit from the yoga because it will get them grounded into their bodies. Now, I've been having a hard time coming out of this last round of not a hard time. How about that? How about this last round of spell work that I fought for the collective this last Halloween energy, and you know the stuff that we've all gone through. Man, it's been thick. Plus this retrograde energy, you all know how that is. It's at a standstill. It seems like you can't do anything without, well, me anyway. I can't do, I'm like a bull in a china shop. I can't do anything without bumping into something or you know, turning around and stepping on the dog or stepping on a cat or bumping into the corner or something. And it's just that retrograde energy is a little bit chaotic, and especially in my living quarters right now because we've outgrown our environment, yet we haven't caught up with what we've created in spirit just yet. So we're trying to wait for life to catch up with what we've already made. And I'm trying to wait for life to catch up. That's what my guides keep telling me. Just like I told my daughter and I were talking, she said the same thing, and I agree with her. So that's how I want to put it, is that we're waiting on life to catch up with what we've already done in the ethers, to manifest in the physical. And right now, you know, with this retrograde, it's a great time to just kind of clear out all those old cycles. However, I've been having energetic premonitions since as long as I can remember. And I can remember being looked at like I was a know-it-all for it. I've had people not like it if I'm smart. So if like the one and only time I'm like, yeah, actually I know about that. I know a little something about that. I've kind of been through that, and I say it in front of like a room full of people and I speak up, it'll be the one time that someone I like or someone I think likes me will be like, well, don't you know everything? And I'm like, no, I was just talking. And then they like interrupt and treat me like crap again. And it's like, well, okay. No, I was just trying to help, but I'll keep my mouth shut since I can't seem to make anybody happy, whether I try to help or don't try. You know that feeling. And that is shadow work. That's inner child healing. Well, you know, it can go on the entire life, but when you draw those people to you, it's always just a test to see how you're going to handle it. If anything, it's just you know, you can use it as a test for yourself to see how you know, where you're at on your own spectrum of spiritual growth, you know. The energies felt a little hype. I wanted you all to know also that when I say I was delivered, I was meaning that I meditated a lot since 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, it has been about 8 years now. For about consistently since 2012, I've been completely metamorphosizing my entire self. My light body has been going through severely critical upgrades. But with those upgrades, now the physical vessel has to catch up. So it takes a lot of rest, which could be perceived as laziness in someone who's nosy that shouldn't be paying attention to other people's stuff, but do because they think they're being sweet, or maybe because they know you got something good coming in and they try to stop it, or maybe because they've always had it out for you, or maybe because they admire you. Who knows? I know that a true divine member of the collective does not have to run around worrying about what other people got going on, because they are too divine for that. We a little divine, okay? It's just like shout out to Lord Draco, because he's Lord Draco nobody, but shout out to him because he's like, you're like little, he calls her, he references this one character in like his channelings that he's been picking up on as little divine. And in my head, all I can hear is, yeah, a little divine. And so as I'm playing it in my head, I'm like, yo, little divine. As little divine's little her little like story as like Lord Merliness or something, you know, from Britannia. As this happens, speaking of which, Merlin, the reason. Listen, y'all, I gotta run, but thank you for listening to my, lecture, my rants. Also, real quick, I wanted to say that ascension I was telling you about, it felt like I was moving up like 1,000 miles an hour, consistently for probably 4 hours straight, the entire time I laid down. From the time I closed my eyes, they ran me through what they needed to show me, and then delivered me. Literally pulled me up, straight up into the air, and I just closed my eyes. Apologized because I couldn't hold on to, the person that wanted me to stay with them, stayed there, especially after they showed me the entity's way of manipulating the person so that it can harvest energy off me physically. I was delivered from it. One sec, please. I was delivered from it, and as I was being brought up, the ascension is what I'm referencing, and that energy that now is now catching up, because it happened, and it was perhaps the most intense thing I've had happen to me energetically. Yeah. Okay, I can feel the energy is wanting to die down. Thank you to my Council of Light that showed up to assist me, Metatron, Michael, and Melchizedek. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for everyone who shows up. Thank you for my subscribers. And thank you to everyone who tunes in to listen to my spiritual awakening. And I will talk to you on the next video.